action, the Gamecocks and Bulldogs, tonight at 6 on Live 5.
Can you believe this? It is caught for the win!
Arnold Palmer is the Masters champion.
Jason Day, major champion. Touchdown, Alabama! Villanova! Phenomenal!
The Final Four, college basketball's grandest stage.
And here we go.
This is the best environment in all of sports. Electricity's in the air.
This is the beauty of this tournament.
Some superheroes, some fairy tale. Something I can turn to, somebody I can kiss. I want something just like this.
The kind of moments they talk about for a lifetime.
To be forever a champion.
Gonzaga is headed to the Final Four. Gamecocks are in the Final Four.
The Oregon Ducks are going to the Final Four.
North Carolina will be looking for redemption in the desert.
To be both obvious and to the point, it has come to this. While the music of college basketball's big dance is still playing, the number of dancers has dwindled. And although rabid followers of the Zags and the Gamecocks and the Ducks and the Tar Heels have particular interest, fans from all over have come to the desert. The madness of March has carried us to April's great expectations, and we have all come together to complete the process of crowning a national champion. We are coming to you live from the University of Phoenix Stadium in Glendale, Arizona, the site of the 79th NCAA Men's National Championship, where an expected crowd of more than 77,000 are anticipating two great matchups tonight. First up, it's a showdown between a pair of teams making their first ever appearance in the Final Four, South Carolina and Gonzaga, and then it's Oregon back in the Final Four for the first time since 1939. They'll take on mighty North Carolina, making its second consecutive trip to the Final Four. Welcome everyone to the Final Four presented by Infiniti. I'm Greg Gumbel, just outside the stadium among the FanFest activities, and I am joined by one Seth Davis, one Steve Smith, and also joining us at the desk, the head coach of last year's national champions, Jay Wright of Villanova, who says he's pleased to be here, but we all know where you'd rather be.
I would rather be in the bowels of that stadium getting ready. But I got to tell you, just hearing your voice get this going sends chills down my spine. It's semifinal day. This is one of the great days in sports, and hearing your voice start it gets me going.
A little ibuprofen will take care of that along the way.
Jay, you want to be greedy, though. You want to be greedy and be back here. I know.
I do. I want to be in there. It was strange walking through the tunnels to come out here to see you guys and not be in it. But if not playing in it, being here with you guys is the best.
When you win it, do you expect to win it again the following year?
You know, it takes you some time in your next year to figure out if you can do it. Once you win it, you realize how hard it was, right? It was so difficult to just get there to this point, you know, where Chris hits the shot of a lifetime. And Chris is here this weekend, too, watching his man Nate Britt. And that's something he'll never forget. We won't. Again, I get chills watching this right now, man. And it is something you figure out late in the season that maybe you have a shot.
Jay, I want to talk about after he knocked down his shot, how cool and calm you were. You uncrossed your arm and you said, bang. Talk to me about that. What was going through your head?
I knew that I did that. Every big time shot, I say bang. I thought I said it in my mind. No one ever put a camera on me. So when I saw that, the guys in the locker room said to me after, they said, Coach, you're OG, man. You said bang. And when they said it to me, I was like, wow, my lips actually move when I say that. But I also say something when the other team is shooting the shot, and I can't say that on air. I can't say that.
That's pretty good. He's not as well dressed as you are.
You always pay when you come on this show.
You do.
You always pay. You can't get it all good.
All right, now look, I know you think that winning a national championship means you're not going to get second-guessed by schmoes like me, okay? But the play before, you're up 3, and Marcus Paige hits that great shot. I'm a huge advocate of fouling when you're up 3 in that situation. Did you consider doing it, or why did you not foul up 3?
I think it's against the coach's 10 commandments, but go ahead.
No, I am in favor. Under 6 seconds, we want to foul. We did call timeout before this, and we said they're going to set a screen for Paige, and we're going to switch it. Watch Daniel Ochefu switches the screen. We got a steal. So we thought we're going to foul, but he went for the steal. And now Arch came up and started to try to foul, but when he shot it, he knew he couldn't foul on the shot, right? And that was incredible. We did a lot of things going down the stretch there to try to lose that game. We turned the ball over before that. But that's where we were so proud of our guys' attitude. There was a timeout right after that where we all came to the huddle, and the guys were just saying to each other, we got this.
Well, take me through that huddle, Jay. When you had that timeout, was Chris Jenkins obviously the first option, or did Ryan have free will in your case to be able to make a play?
That is a play we run, and as you know, all coaches have plays set on how much time is on the clock. So from 7 to 4 seconds, we have a play, and then from 4 and under, we have a different play. So they knew what we were going to run. And those timeouts are long in the NCAA tournament, so we were sitting there for a while because they knew we were running it. But Ryan gets a screen from Daniel Ochefu, and then, as you saw, Phil Booth came off a screen on the wing. That's the next look. And then Josh Hart. Chris Jenkins, the throwback, is your last look. We actually never used that option ever in a game. Usually we've kicked it ahead to the shooter, or Ryan has kept it. That's the only time we've ever even attempted that option, which gives Carolina credit because they guarded every other option. They only left the trailer.
Last year, at what point of the season did you feel that you had the goods to win it all? And I wonder if you had that same feeling going through this season.
You know, last year, I would say I didn't really think we had the goods. I didn't really believe it, that it was going to happen till the second round when we beat Iowa, because Iowa was a good team, and we really played great against them. Now, we played great in our first round game, but to do it against Iowa, and once we did that, I said, all right, they're good. They're really good. They could beat anybody, so we beat them pretty handily. That was the time. Now, this year, because we had done it about halfway through the year, and you know, we were undefeated in Big East play, I was like, we got a shot here. We got a shot. So, and I believed it right to the last second of the Wisconsin game.
Well, that's what I want to ask you about. Not only your season ends and your tournament ends having won it last year, but now you're saying goodbye to your senior class, which had a historic level of success in Villanova. As good as that moment was when Chris Jenkins' shot goes in, is it even more painful when it comes to an end in that fashion?
You know, Seth, the coaching, there's no pity on coaches, because we have the greatest jobs in the world. But the highs are so high. Winning that game was so high. And losing that game to Wisconsin, looking at 3 seniors that have won 4 Big East regular season championships, 2 Big East championships, a national championship, and saying goodbye to them and knowing that they're like your kids. So imagine saying goodbye to your kids when they go off to college. Right. That's what it's like, and it's crushing. Again, no pity, that's part of our job, but the highs are so high, the lows are so low. It's just the unique lifestyle you get as a coach, but you definitely live, man. You're up and you're down. You live.
And it's the unique aspect of this tournament, too, because there are some really good basketball teams who aren't here this week.
Yeah, it is. It totally is. And I love Seth's question, because when you start to look at it, for me, the guy, Josh Hart, because he made the commitment to come back. Jay, talk to me about him, all he's done for Villanova, and this year making that decision to come back to play for you.
Well, Josh handled the situation of being able to look into his NBA opportunities, which the NCAA changed. They worked together with the NBA. He was able to go through some workouts, go to the combine, and he saw probably late first, even more probably early second. He said, you know what, I want to get my degree. I want to come back and get better. I want to prove myself to be a first-round draft choice. And he came back hungry to get better, rather than coming back saying, I wish I would have went out before. And he's a candidate for National Player of the Year. Couldn't have worked out better. He's going to graduate on time.
All right. right. Do me a favor. Don't go anywhere.
You got it.
We got a few hours here. We'll take a quick break. There is still much more to come on At the Final Four, presented by Infiniti after this. We welcome you back to Glendale, Arizona, everyone. Since last Sunday night, when South Carolina advanced to its first ever Final Four, the team has been on one wild ride, starting with the team's return home to throngs of passionate Gamecock fans.
Who outside this circle back in September believed you had a chance to play for a national championship? Who? So don't change your focus, man. All that other celebrating and all that stuff, all that's over with. From right now until Saturday at 3 o'clock, it's over. It's back to our minds where they need to be. It starts right now. All right, come on. Go get the ball! We ain't playing touch here, bro. The ball was shot. Go rebound the thing.
Playing for coach is like real intense because you gotta like bring it every day. Like you can't slack.
Hey, if you're gonna let a little bump knock you off, you can't play. You gotta run through that and create a foul.
He yells just because he's just so intense, you know. Yeah, he yells sometimes when he's happy.
Good, good, yes sir.
We play off of his intensity. Every single day he gives us his best and we try and return the same.
That's the way to execute, but you gotta have desire to win. Two different animals. You guys are getting ready to play on the biggest stage of college basketball. You've earned the right to get on that stage. Why not go take advantage and be the best team in college basketball?
Yeah, baby, Final Four, baby.
Give your traditional Frank Martin look.
Oh boy. Bring a referee in here. We'll get that one done right away.
This is the wildest thing ever. I've never experienced so much, like so much love. Then our fans here supporting us. It's been crazy.
You know, we don't just show up and high-five each other 2 hours of practice and kind of go our separate ways. I live with these guys. I know what they're about. I know what they go through every day. I know where their heart is at. I know where their minds are at. I'm a better man because I get to coach guys like that.
Who saw this coming? You have to wonder. 10 from preseason SEC media poll. Lost 6 of the last 9 coming into the tournament and a 4-9 tournament record before 2017. Joining us now is the head coach of South Carolina, our friend Frank Martin. Coach, has it sunk in for you yet? I mean, here it is, Final Four Saturday, and you're one of the 4.
No, that's why I'm doing this with you, because I'm so nervous. I can't sit still. I got to do stuff to keep myself busy.
One of the things, well, first of all, let me tell you, Seth Davis is here with me, and so is Steve Smith and Jay Wright, who apparently has nothing better to do than to sit down with us here on the set.
Frank, how are you, buddy? Congratulations, my man.
I can't hear anything behind you guys, with your guys yelling, fans yelling right behind you. How's Jay Wright keeping his mind sane with your guys over there?
No, hey, it's all your people, Frank. They're beautiful. We love them, buddy. Hey, let me ask you this, my man. We're all so happy for you. You know, everybody in the profession has such great respect for you and love for you, man. You're just a good man and a great coach. But do you have that feeling right now that did I do too much with the guys? Did I do too little? Where am I? Or do you have a good feel that, you know what, I handled this well right now to this point?
Yeah, you know, Jay, I tried not to change. I'm not a micromanager, so I tried not to change who I am because I wanted our guys to be relaxed. I didn't want them to think that I was changing anything or worried about them. I wanted them to know that I still trust in their decisions as we went about the business of the week. But I'll say this, the more days between games, the more I think, the more I worry, so the more confused I get. So I need this game to hurry up and start so I can clear my mind.
I know the feeling, brother.
Hey, Frank, Steve Smith, I know your journey all the way from Miami High School all the way to now. I'm so proud of you. My question is, South Carolina, the imprint for you guys and what you define as defense. But talk about, in this run, offensively, where has the stride and what has happened for you guys?
Well, we haven't been as bad offensively as everyone thinks. The problem is our league was real good defensively. And our guys, we're young. We're not an old team. We got a bunch of young guys. It's just that our best player is old. So we kind of hit a wall late in conference play. Didn't score as well as we had. We missed shots. But the one thing that I was excited about our team, even though, you know, the outside world thought we were struggling, was our attention to detail. We were still being aggressive. And I just knew if we can keep our enthusiasm, our energy, so we can keep guarding and rebounding, because we were taking good shots, eventually those balls will start going in. And we've hit a run here in the tournament where we're making shots. And as anyone, as you guys know, that's played this, when the ball goes in the net, we become better coaches.
Frank, one thing that we've seen throughout this tournament and really throughout the season is how dominant you guys have been in the second half. For example, against Florida, they go 7 for 12 from 3 in the first half, 0 for 14 in the second half. It appears that teams get mentally worn down, particularly going up against your defense. How much are you counting on that against Gonzaga tonight?
Well, the problem where it doesn't affect as much as a regular season is timeouts are so long, so everyone gets to rest a little more. But that's a big part of what I believe in. I believe in that 40 minutes, relentless pressure, getting into your point guard. So, you know, early in the game, everyone's got all that juice going, but that nonstop pressure, not being able to make an easy pass, an easy dribble, an easy shot, eventually wearing guys down more mentally than physically. That's what we try to do, and right now it's worked for us.
Frank, I want to ask you about your preparation personally for this. Other than Roy Williams, none of the other coaches have ever been to a Final Four, and I'm wondering, did you talk to someone about what to expect, how to prepare, how to go through your experience here?
Hey, I spoke with 4 people, actually. One, a dear friend of mine that just got named the head coach at Dayton, Anthony Grant, when he was with Billy Donovan in Florida, and then make their runs and to see how they handled it. Then I spoke with one of my closest friends in the business, Bob Huggins. I also spoke with Billy Donovan, who's a dear friend, and Bill Cowher. Bill Cowher and I exchanged conversations during the week, and I tried to take all the stuff that they said and kind of put it together and then create my own vision, my own flavor on how to manage it so our players know it was coming from me and not someone else's ideas.
Hey, Frank, I think that's really smart on your part, my man. But now I got to be a fan. How is our man Sindarius Thornwell feeling? Is he back to 100%?
Yeah, he's great. He's one of those kids that if the game would have been Thursday, I would have shown up with a black eye because he would have punched me right in my face if I didn't let him play.
Frank, what's the strategy against Big Shem tonight? 7'1", 300 pounds, huge beard.
Grab him by the beard. That's not a foul. You know, it's no. Our perimeter defense has to be real good. Our on-the-ball defense, our ball screen coverage, and our ability to deny the entry passes. That way we can push the offense further out on the floor, which make post entries harder. And then when he catches it, we got to be real clean with our coverage. Because here's the thing that's underrated about him. We all talk about how big he is. He is an unbelievable passer. So as soon as he sees double coming, he makes the right decision.
Frank Martin, anybody who knows you wishes you all the very best. Thank you for taking the time to join us, and good luck to you.
Good luck, Frank.
Appreciate you.
Good luck, Frank.
Appreciate you guys.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank
Don't
you.
go away, everybody. We'll be back in a moment.
In college college basketball, really was.
After beating them by 60 last year. And the reason why I love all these shots being shown at once, because as someone who's studied the history of the NCAA tournament, you cannot manufacture these moments. There's so much about what happens that you can't anticipate and can't prepare for. So to be as normal, to have that moment present itself, Smitty, and rise to it and convert, to me, always amazes me.
Jay, I had a question. Have you ever been in a huddle and you called a shot for some guy and he had that look and you didn't want it and you changed it?
No. I'm looking at all their eyes before I ask that question, because you're right. Because you know the guys that are looking at you with wide eyes like, give it to me. Yeah. Give it to me. And a lot of times they'll just say, hey, I want this. Give it to me.
You got to feel that as a coach, too.
You saw that just a short while ago. You can tell we're getting close. Frank Martin and the Gamecocks of South Carolina arriving here at the stadium. They're the first ones on the docket today. We'll have much more as the Final Four show continues after this.
Gonzaga is headed to the Final Four. Gamecocks are in the Final Four.
The Oregon Ducks are going to the Final Four.
North Carolina will be looking for redemption in the desert.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is about the best day in sports you can possibly find. Semifinal Saturday at the Final Four. And a great look from above at the University of Phoenix Stadium, where they will be jammed in here tonight to cheer on the four teams that have made the Final Four: North Carolina and Oregon, and Gonzaga and South Carolina. We're in Glendale, Arizona, about 15 miles or so from downtown Phoenix. That's what Charles tells me, and that's what Google Maps tells Underdog. So that's what we're going to go with. The student sections are here. There they are from South Carolina's Gamecocks, from Columbia, South Carolina. And they're right behind us here at our set, floor level. What a great day it's going to be. Welcome, everybody. The Final Four show. Ernie Johnson, Clark Kellogg, Kenny the Jet Smith, Charles Barkley. A few moments ago, as you see the Gamecocks, who will play in the first national semifinal today. Charles, you and I are just sitting here kind of looking around this place and saying this is indeed a wonderful, wonderful day.
Ernie, I've been blessed to do this tournament for 7 years. I tell people, Saturday at the Final Four to me is the greatest day in sports.
And you've got such great stories here because you got a couple of first-timers to the Final Four. You got another team that hasn't been here since the first championship, and then you've got your North Carolina Tar Heels, Kenny, who it's expected you're supposed to be here.
Well, you can't live on your laurels. You got to bring your game and not your name. This is the first time a lot of these kids have been here, regardless of the school. So they're newcomers for North Carolina. There's some veterans as well, but this will be a great weekend because of the atmosphere, the excitement, and the preparation leading up to this.
We're getting to that point right now. We're not quite there, but about a half hour before the first game tips, there is such an energy, such an electricity, such an anticipation that runs through this place.
Hey, Ernie, you cannot duplicate 4 corners of overwhelming optimism in 4 different colors of loyalty and passion and excitement for the get the privilege to play here. And that's what makes semifinal Saturday the very best one-day event on the sports calendar.
Even just the images you've already seen of South Carolina players coming out and high-fiving with the student section. This is what they played all season for, the chance to be one of those Final Four. And here we sit in Glendale, Arizona, waiting for it all to tip off about an hour from now. To take a look at the semifinal matchups today, Tracy Wolfson standing by live. Tracy, what you got?
Well, thanks a lot, Ernie. You mentioned South Carolina. They received a little bit of a scare when they arrived here in Phoenix. Their star player, Sandarius Thornwell, dealing with flu-like symptoms. He had chills, he had a fever, a headache. Well, Frank Martin told me that they gave him antibiotics immediately, pumped some fluids into him, and gave him a lot of rest. They did not practice him until Friday, but Martin told me he will be fine by game time. On the other side of the ball, you have Gonzaga. They're coming in extremely healthy, but they're just surprised that their big guy, Przemek Karnowski, 300 pounds, 7'1", is out here playing at this level. Just 15 months ago, he was undergoing back surgery. A staph infection in his leg went into his back, ruptured a disc. He went through rehab from January until September, lost 60 pounds. And Mark Few telling us they didn't think he would ever play basketball again. He said it's just a miracle for him to be out here playing at this level and moving around the way he is. Let's talk about the nightcap, and we have North Carolina up against Oregon for the Tar Heels. The biggest story, Joel Berry and his ankle injuries. Suffered a right ankle injury in the first game of the tournament, tweaked it again in the regionals, and then sprained the left ankle against Kentucky on Sunday. And Joel Berry saying this week he's about 85% right now, went through a lot of rehab. The Tar Heels actually came in a day early because they were concerned his ankle would swell up, but he did a lot of cold tubs and some massage. He said the biggest thing for him is he's scared of his explosiveness. He won't be able to lift off on those shots, but he said if he can't help his team offensively, he will do whatever he can defensively, and that's what the Tar Heels need, and they need him out there playing at that high level, that energy and that leadership. As for Oregon, the injury bug hit them in the Pac-12 tournament, dealing with Chris Boucher, torn ACL, one of their big men, one of their key contributors. And Dana Altman telling me this week that it didn't really bother not having him during this tournament because they played 4 perimeter-oriented teams. Now, though, he's concerned because they have to face a North Carolina team with a lot of size and a lot of length, and they need to make sure that Jordan Bell stays out of foul trouble. Ernie?
Tracy, thank you very much. Folks, that is what you call a world-class live report on all 4 teams without one misstep by Tracy Wilson. That was loaded with good information. Thanks, Trace. Let's talk about this first game. You obviously have 2 teams that can really play defense, and number 1 in defensive efficiency during this tournament, Gonzaga. Team that absolutely gets up in you and makes life miserable in South Carolina. What do you make of this matchup?
Well, defensively, they're both elite. Offensively, South Carolina has been elite in the tournament, not so much during the regular season. It's just been the opposite for Gonzaga. I think Gonzaga has found a new lease on life. The pressure of getting to this point for some of these guys overwhelmed their offensive production, I think, to this point. Now that they're here, I think you're going to see NWG, Niles Williams-Goss, get busy and have the kind of game that he's had all season long until the tournament, shooting and leading. I like Gonzaga's overall offensive balance, the perimeter game, the interior game, the transition game, and the half-court game to be able to deal with what South Carolina provides defensively.
Williams-Goss leads him with 16, but he's only shooting 31% in the tournament, and Gonzaga's offensive numbers, Charles, are down overall from what they did in the regular season. You just wonder if this team gets it going offensively, considering the way they already play defense, they're going to be a real tough out.
Well, Ernie, I think this to me is reminiscent of last year with Villanova. I think with Villanova the last few years, same thing with the Zags, the pressure for trying to get to the Final Four has overwhelmed these teams. And I think you saw last year with Villanova, once they got over the hump, smooth sailing, they won a national championship. I think the exact same thing about the Zags this year. Not only do I think they're going to win today, I think they're going to win Monday. I think their offense is going to come around because I think no coach, Coach Few said it, but there's no monkey on my back. Yes, there is, Coach. There's a monkey on your back. But I think getting to the Final Four gets rid of that monkey, and now I think they're going to be able to play free and relaxed. And you saw last game, they started to really get it going offensively.
Yeah, but this is a tough team, South Carolina, to get it going offensively against.
Well, the one thing about Gonzaga, and I told you I've watched them all year, they have these spells where they don't score. Right. So when they're not scoring, they won't be surprised. because I don't know if it will just be the defense of South Carolina. But overall, the one thing that they do have, they have a balance and a size. And I really believe that this is the type of teams that they played all year. They haven't really played the
South Carolina is the type of
team
Gonzaga
that Zach has played all year. These teams that are really good defensively, but undersized. So, to me, this is the advantage that they have. This is what they've seen. I don't think they've seen a team like Oregon or North Carolina. They haven't seen that type of team. That would be different for them. So for me, playing in an environment, and think about it, these guys are 36-1.
Yeah.
If we were talking about a UNLV team or a Duke team or a Carolina team that was 36-1, we'd be saying, oh, this was the top team ever that played college basketball. They don't even get mentioned like that. So I do think that they have a chip on their shoulder because of that as well.
On the South Carolina side, again, we talk about their defense. And Clark, just this entire run for the Gamecocks here, winning the first time in 44 years in the tournament, getting to the Sweet 16, getting to the Final Four. You could think, hey, now you're playing with house money. But I don't think Frank Martin lets them feel that way. I think Frank Martin's like, hey, we got this far, let's cut down the nets.
And it's not just Frank Martin. I think the leadership that they get from Sindarius Thornwell and his senior compatriot, Dwayne Notice, is a big part of why this team stays hungry. And the reason they've gotten to this point is they've been better offensively than they've been all season. And Chris Silva, Sindarius Thornwell, he's the stat sheet stuffer supreme of this tournament. Not just in the Final Four, but throughout the tournament, this guy has stuffed the stat sheet like no other. He's competent, he's efficient, he's effective, he's fearless. He's made 32 of 39 free throws. And what he does really well is not only defend, but he can hurt you on the offensive glass. That's where he's a guy that makes a difference for this team.
Chuck, is he the best player in this tournament?
Still playing.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, still playing. I don't know if he's the best player in the tournament. He's the best one at the Final Four. You know, he gets overlooked a couple reasons. Number one, he's the SEC Player of the Year. So, you know, most people don't know that. And secondly, and Clark talked about it, he says they've been elite defensively all year. It's just a matter of they're able to bring their offense. If they're able to score, and the thing that's going to be interesting about this game, they've been down pretty much at half every game. So even if Gonzaga gets off to a great start, they can't relax. What they've done in the second half of these games has been astonishing. I'm really looking forward because they're both elite defensively. But like I say, I think the reason I'm going with the Zags today is I think that pressure of trying to get to the Final Four. Listen, we hear all those rumors. We hear all, and my favorite thing, and I heard love when guys say, well, and coaches said the same too. I don't watch news, I don't read the newspaper, I don't watch television. First of all, yes you do. We all read the newspaper.
Well, you're not on social media.
No, but I read the newspaper. I read the newspaper every day, Clark, and I watch TV every day. And everybody's here, and Kenny said it. Until they got here, no matter how, they won 30 games every year for like the last 10, 15 years. But until they got over the hump,
I'm with you.
Nobody's had taken them seriously. And you, Clark, I give you credit. You said from the beginning, the best team, top to bottom, is the Gonzaga. Can they handle the pressure or get into the Final Four? You said that from day one of the tournament we were talking. You said there's no team more balanced than the Zags. But that pressure been on their back. Now they're here, I think they're going to be freed up.
Well, I think the best team, top to bottom, honestly, is North Carolina.
You think that because you went there?
No, I just think the talent.
I can see that.
No, because of the talent level. I think they have more guys that will.
I call them the most balanced team.
They definitely, but the most. I think top to bottom, North Carolina. I think the Zags have been, as I've been saying, the number one seed that people don't say they're number one seed. They've been number one in the country. People don't really talk about it. They've been a number one seed, and you're not really sure if they're going to get there. But overall, this has been a perfect storm for me. If you're the Zags, you go, oh, this is perfect. This is the type of team we're accustomed to playing. We're okay playing in the 60s. We like that. We can do that because then that actually gives touches to guys like Williams and guys like Konowski, gives them more touches in the paint. So this is a good fit for them.
Let me say, and I disagree with that. I think if this game's in the 50s, 60s, I think that plays into South Carolina hands. But they don't have to be, they can make it a dirty game, a trashy game, a sloppy game.
It's going to be that.
No, but I'm saying Gonzaga, to me, they are more free-flowing. They're better offensively. If the game's in the 50s and 60s, I think that favors South Carolina. I think if it gets to 70, 75, that's going to be in the Zag's wheelhouse.
We talk about all the transfers who have had an impact for Gonzaga, but the guy who's come back from the back injury, Shamik Karnowski, how big a role does he play in this game against South Carolina?
Well, a couple of things on both sides is that how this game is officiated in terms of the inside play, the front line. Chris Silva has been really good for South Carolina. Shamik Karnowski has only played about 20, 21 minutes a game. So his foul trouble has limited his time. But when he's on the floor, he takes up a lot of space. He's skilled in the post, can score it and pass it, but he also opens up the perimeter for his outstanding shooters.
A bundle of storylines as far as this first matchup goes. We've just covered some of them. That'll be the first game you see today here on CBS. Guys, I have something that you need to see that you certainly don't see every day. These are what we call pie top shoes.
High tops?
Like high tops, but these are high top shoes.
I don't get it. Tell me why.
From Pizza Hut, because all you got to do, there's a Bluetooth inside. There were like 64 pair of these made. There's a Bluetooth here, so you hit that, and then it triggers the Pizza Hut app that you've got, and it orders.
How lazy are you?
It orders
You can't
your
even
pizza by touching your shoe.
Pizza. How lazy you have to be?
You don't have
that
to
you
be
can't even
lazy
pick
at
up
all.
a phone to call that you gonna hit up. You gonna wear some sneakers
It is
that
sure.
you're not gonna run in. You're gonna eat some pizza.
Make sure you go to pizzahut.com to order your pizza
That is
before
awesome.
the games start.
That is awesome, Arnie.
Maybe those are high top shoes.
You're supposed to work out in
Every
shoes.
college
not
kid
order
needs
pizza.
a pair.
You can work out and
Mom and
order
Dad,
pizza.
send money. I got to get some high top shoes.
Oh my God.
And we welcome you back to Glendale. Already heard from Tracy Wilson, who will be working the sidelines, calling the game. This will be a big one. Jim Nance, Bill Raftery, Grant Hill. I know you're ready. Take it away.
Yes, we are. It's not work. We're going to watch. It's going to be, for me, watching a couple of heavyweights in this first game. Grant Hill and Bill Raftery. Okay.
Well, thank you. I'd be Frank Martin, I think. He's too nice.
Yeah, well, you bring up a good point, because these two coaches, their teams are really the embodiment of the personality of the coach. Take Frank Martin, for example. That intensity you see on the sideline, it's reflected on the floor with his team.
And Jim, you said it best. Frank Martin, his intensity, his passion, he's so expressive, but he's toughness personified, and his team truly reflects that. Their defense is relentless, almost suffocating at times. So much heart, so much hustle, so much desire. That must be on display here today. They have to play with that controlled rage of that man, the leader, the coach, Frank Martin.
Well said.
Back here.
Controlled rage. Then you got Mark Few.
Yeah.
18th year at Gonzaga, 18 trips to the NCAA tournament. Only Rupp and Tarkanian took fewer games to get to 500 career wins, and this week he got named the coach of the year. His team kind of reflects his personality too, Rap.
Well, sweet, affable, kind, understated, a preacher's kid as well, but that doesn't tell the whole story about this guy. They play together. He's very demanding in his quiet, sincere, uncomplicated way. The guards do a great job penetrating, ball movement, but what I love best about this club is they hit the box. Karnowski is wonderful. Finding cutters, just get free, and they provide the lift.
All right, fellas, what kind of game do we have here first up? High scoring, low scoring? Grant, I'll start with you.
Jim, it could be low scoring. Don't underestimate Gonzaga, one of the best defenses all year in college basketball.
You should never talk about defense. Everybody's talking about offense. I think for some strange reason, preparation for a week, the ability of Gonzaga to make them score, I think they're going to a lot more numbers than we think.
All right, that's the latest from here. We can't wait to get it started. So get that clock moving even a little faster if we can. Ernie, back to you.
There's only so much we can do. Jimmy, thank you very much. We're at the mercy of the clock, too. So we used these pie top shoes moments ago, didn't we, Chuckster?
Yes, sir.
To order some Pizza Hut. Nicole has arrived on the scene.
Come on down.
Fresh with our, fresh new pizzas. Thank you so much, Nicole.
All right, I get 2 of them.
What do we got?
Meat lovers and pepperoni.
There you go.
Meat lovers. Where's that going, Chuck?
You know,
I get one. I get one. I get one.
Open
he got 2.
up.
He got 2.
Let's open that up.
I like the way she knew I was on my diet.
Oh, yeah. Look at this action. This is now.
I didn't even get one.
Now, do you believe? Now, do you believe in the power of the pie top?
Do you know how
sneakers?
fat I could be if I had those shoes?
Oh, this is just tremendous.
Now, isn't that an oxymoron, Club? If you buy sneakers, you get heavier.
That is actually a bit of an oxymoron. Actually, I think this is an ingenious idea. You can go work out, and on your way home, you can order pizza.
Well, you know you can't out-eat a bad diet. You can't out-work out a bad diet.
No doubt.
Put some sauce on them pie tops.
No doubt. No doubt. I'm not mad at the pie tops, though. I'm definitely not mad at
I'm not mad at Pizza Hut either, baby.
And remember to go to pizzahut.com to order your pregame pizzas here on semifinal Saturday. 48 minutes, 30 seconds, and counting. I cannot wait.
Congratulations, Lady Gamecocks, on to the fight for the national title.
Gonzaga. Horchata. Gamecocks. Gonzaga Gamecocks. Party. Yep.
We're ready.
Cover that. Go West! Young man, how long have we been saying that? Since way back in the 1800s, that meant one thing. Opportunity! To get out here, it takes a sense of adventure, it takes some risk, takes some swagger. I mean, you ever seen a cowboy walk? Look at those shoes. Look at that. That is swagger. But that's what it takes to make it out here. So where have you been, guys? The Final Four. Back out west for the first time in 2 decades? I mean, it took you long enough. What do you think, a wagon? Used to be the West Coast was the Final Four. Remember the 70s? Chips? That's my dad. Anyway, it seems you finally took the man's advice. Go West, young man. I am so excited. I shaved my head and got this belt buckle. Basketball, belt buckle. Final Four is, it's a real cactus, guys. Come on. Tell me if you haven't heard this before, okay? Young hotshot rolls into town. He's the upstart with a funny name everybody's been talking about.
For the first time, Gonzaga is headed to the Final Four.
Only to meet the new kid.
Yes!
No one saw them coming.
Gamecocks are in the Final Four.
Here comes a team that's been gone so long, it feels like they disappeared.
It's been 78 years since the Ducks have flown.
But there's always a grizzled old guy in these scenarios, the seen-it-all type who can't be rattled.
North Carolina will be looking for redemption.
Oh, and they have seen it all. Oof. Like everyone who's ever gone west, this is that moment for competition, for glory, for redemption. That's why we're here. I mean, really, that's why everybody goes west. All these young men are here to seek fame, to take their little piece of history home.
And Williams scores.
The winners today, they know one final challenge still awaits from D. Get it! But then this is the type of country that welcomes a challenge, isn't it? That's why we always say, go west! Go west, young man.
That's easy, Chris.
Sure. Thanks.
And it is great to be west in the Valley of the Sun. The first time the Final Four has been out west since Seattle in 1995. And here come the South Carolina Gamecocks. Their first ever appearance on a Final Four floor. And the Gonzaga Bulldogs out of Spokane, Washington. Also a maiden voyage to the promised land of college basketball. They're up first. A pair of first-timers. South Carolina and Gonzaga with national semifinal game number 2, Oregon and North Carolina. Going to be a great day here just outside of Phoenix in Glendale. And hello, friends. Jim Nantz, along with my buddies, Grant, Bill, Tracy Wolfson. That opening certainly got me a little more fired up, if that's possible. It's great to be in this setting out west and at this very moment. One of my favorite times of the year before it all gets started.
And Jim, what's amazing is that all the teams playing today and all their fans in this building feel like this is their one shining moment. This is their year.
Whether it's a kid, a fan, a former player, a former coach, a broadcaster, it just crystallizes our love and affection for this great game.
Yeah, there's so much hope in the building right now. Let's break down game one. Let's start with Gonzaga. A couple of their star players. I want to begin with Nigel Williams-Goss. He's a sensational young man. On the court, off the court, he leads this team.
He is, without a doubt, the leader of Gonzaga. He must be aggressive and poised, under control to deal with the pressure from the Gamecocks with their defense. And, of course, his counterpart, the man inside, the big fella, the Polish hammer, Karnowski. He's so skilled, he's so big, he has to be big literally and figuratively today against the Gamecocks for Gonzaga.
Gonzaga won the West, South Carolina won the East in Madison Square Garden. Not a whole lot of folks saw this one coming, but a lot of folks have not seen Sindarius Thornwell, and he is special.
Well, you talked about the hammer. Well, this kid can play a lot of positions and hammer it home as well. Solid off the bounce. I just love that he can guard all four positions other than center, but also fill it up deep. He really understands how to get in the lane, has a floater, and believe it or not, Grant Hill, he can post you up on occasion.
Hey, there's been a lot of concern about if he's 100% or not, and for more on that, let's go over to Tracy.
That's right, Jim. Sindarius Thornwell arrived here in Phoenix dealing with flu-like symptoms. He had a headache, chills, a fever. Frank Martin told us they immediately gave him antibiotics. They pumped him with fluids. They got him rest. He didn't practice Friday, but I was just told he is 100% and ready to go, Jim.
Okay, everyone is ready to go. Over 70,000 screaming, enthusiastic college basketball fans are too. It's Gonzaga and South Carolina. Semifinal number one coming up on CBS. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise to honor America and those who support our freedom at home and abroad. The presentation of the colors is provided by the Luke Air Force Joint Services Color Guard. And now, in the spirit of college tradition and sportsmanship, please join us in the singing of our national anthem, as led by student athletes from the institutions of our Final Four teams. From the South Carolina equestrian team, Ari Engel Schmieding. From the Gonzaga women's golf team, Nina Novilla. From the North Carolina fencing team, Sarah Hanvey. And from the Oregon women's volleyball team, Taylor August.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was
The dunk of the year is courtesy of the East Regional Final.
Had to take it away.
Dwayne put the world on notice to slam the door on Florida and send South Carolina to their first ever Final Four. One happy head coach, Frank Martin, greets his gritty, hard-working group of happy winners who are moving on to today's big game.
Told you last Sunday, man. Why not? Why not?
This CBS Sports Spectacular Talking Hoops with Bill Raftery and Friends is sponsored by Progressive, making it easy to bundle your home and car insurance. And now Bill takes a look back at each team's road to today's Final Four.
For a school that's known more for SEC football and basketball, the South Carolina Gamecocks have made a remarkable tournament run. They began their march to the Final Four with a convincing win over Marquette. The Gamecocks went on a 16-0 run in the second half and secured their first tournament victory in 44 years. Meanwhile, in the West region, Gonzaga took care of its first-round opponent with ease before taking on everyone's favorite newcomer, Northwestern. It was all Zags in the first half as they went into the break leading by 18. But yada, 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 the Wildcats got back to within 5 points with just over 5 minutes left. What happened next was probably the most controversial missed call of the year.
Collins got a hand on it.
Oh, he's gonna get
I can't blame Coach Collins for getting teed up after that missed call. The result was a 4-point swing for Gonzaga that sealed Northwestern's fate. Don't worry, kid. You've got plenty of years left to watch your team play in the tourney. In the Midwest, the Ducks flew past Iona in the first round and landed a tough second-round opponent in Rhode Island. The Rams danced their way to a first-half lead. But the Ducks would rally, led by a couple of Tyler Dorsey onions. A three-pointer to tie the game, and then the go-ahead three with 40 seconds to go. Rhode Island's last shot for tournament magic was off the mark. Oregon would hang on and advance. Back in the East, South Carolina continued its uphill battle against the Dukies in what turned out to be a very friendly environment for the Gamecocks. South Carolina didn't panic, and they trailed by 7 at the half. Turnovers would end up haunting the Blue Devils and shift the momentum back to South Carolina. The door was finally slammed on Duke with a big Justin Mackey dunk, sending the Gamecocks into the Sweet 16 for the first time in school history. Here's where things get interesting. We had a couple of nail-biters in the Sweet 16. Oregon's game against Michigan came down to the last minute. Tyler Dorsey stepped up again with a nice layup to put the Ducks ahead by 1 with just over a minute left. Now I see why his teammates call him Mr. March. It wasn't over yet, though. Michigan had one last look to win the game. Meanwhile, the Zags gave its fans heart palpitations of their own. It was a tight game until the very end. A three-pointer with under a minute left gave the Bulldogs the lead. And fittingly, this low-scoring game came down to a couple of defensive stops, which sent the Bulldogs to their third Elite Eight in school history. South Carolina continued their historical run and joined the Elite Eight by cruising past Baylor 70-50. Suddenly, the Gamecocks were playing like their counterparts from Chapel Hill. Next up, they faced a familiar SEC foe, the Florida Gators. The game went back and forth, and like most great tournament games, it all came down to the final minute. But a big-time steal and even bigger dunk sealed the win, sending the Gamecocks to their first Final Four in school history. Can't wait to see how this Cinderella story ends. It's hard to match the excitement of that game, but for Gonzaga fans, their big win over Xavier was just as monumental.
6 boards, 4
Third time's the charm. After 3 Elite Eight appearances, Gonzaga is joining South Carolina in their first ever Final Four. Oregon also cruised in their Elite Eight matchup against Kansas. The Ducks took the lead with 16 minutes left in the first half and never looked back. It was Oregon's first Final Four appearance since 1939, the very first NCAA tournament. Believe it or not, that's actually before my time. Last but not least, there's the lone blue blood left in the tournament. North Carolina. A Roy Williams squad did exactly what you would expect the number 1 seed to do. They rolled through Texas Southern, survived the scare against Arkansas, and cruised past Butler. Then they met up with Kentucky in the South Regional Final in what was easily the most exciting finish of the tournament so far. After trailing by 5 in the second half, UNC scored 12 straight points to take the lead with under a minute to go, setting the stage for some major onions.
Tyus. Oh, impossible shot with 5. Looks up, driving in. May for the win. North Carolina.
That shot sent the Tar Heels to their 20th Final Four, most in tournament history.
Back to the Final Four in Phoenix.
Thanks for being with us on Talking Hoops with Raftery and Friends.
Special guy, special day to be with you. Thanks for doing
it.
it.
A lot more still coming up. In fact, next at the Final Four, presented by Infinity, and then the national semifinals, beginning with South Carolina against Gonzaga, and later tonight, Oregon takes on North Carolina. We're going to be sitting courtside. Let's do it, partner. Thanks, everyone. Enjoy the Final Four.
Welcome to College Game Day, covered by State Farm.
The Arizona desert, barren, tough. You have to find a way to survive. Search for your oasis, as it were. And for 4 teams whose season perhaps represented a journey through the desert, this is their oasis. University of Phoenix Stadium, just over a decade old and already the site of so many memorable moments. Super Bowls, college football playoff championship, Tyrese catch, and for the first time today, the Final Four has arrived in Glendale.
The Valley of the Sun may be parched and dry, but the night is a vault for dreams and stars. The sky and ocean of light and hope. That's what they all carry, not in a distant mirage, but with an immediate chance to run the floor, to rise above, to cut the net. For one, it's been a long time coming. For another, who saw this coming? A team that hadn't won a tourney game in 44 years. It's been 78 years since they've been here. They were called the Webfoots then, now called the Midwest Region Champs. And then there's the mainstay, the regular, the royalty. The stars will be out tonight, but whose will shine and whose will fall? The Final Four for it all.
A Final Four that will be played here in the greater Phoenix area for the first time since 1973. We have a national semifinal matching 2 teams making their Final Four debuts and a lot of Gonzaga shirts. Part of that semifinal here. They will take on South Carolina here for the first time. North Carolina and Oregon in the nightcap. Glad to have you with us. College Game Day from the Final Four. Reese Davis here, Jay Williams, Tom Crean, former Indiana Marquette coach, Seth Greenberg, and we're also joined by Karnowski Light. With the little beard working here, Jay Billis, in honor of Shimmick Karnowski. Now, most people may be wondering maybe that you just lost your razor, but since the Elite Eight, your razor's been on hiatus, right?
Yes, since Gonzaga won. Back in December, I was challenged by a Twitter account called Karnowski's Beard that if Gonzaga made the Final Four, that I would grow a beard. So I accepted the challenge, not thinking straight at the time. And I think it's coming in gloriously well, don't you?
I like it. It looks very sophisticated.
Very distinguished.
Yes.
And perhaps because he has long thought that he is the most interesting man in the world. He is well on that look, too. All of my partners here have Final Four experience and extensive. Head coach, assistant coach, player, and assistant coach. Tom, from your standpoint, what is this day like? Because I know winning the championship's the ultimate, but in this sport, people talk about getting to the Final Four. What's this day like?
Well, I think the most important thing is that the quicker you can really get your mind towards what you've got to do basketball-wise, because there's so much pageantry, there's so much excitement, there's all the emotion that's brewing around, you've got your family and friends, but you've got to get your mind ready to play. And I think as a coach, you want to do the very best job you can do of managing the energy of your team. Like your walkthrough can't turn into a full-out scrimmage, per se. Your film sessions can't turn into dissertations. They've got to be sharp. But you want to get yourself to the point where when you get into that game, everybody looks around, even though it's a different environment, but they're ready to play the game because they're used to doing it with each other.
Make sure your analysis tapes don't turn into dissertations today. If you don't.
Too late. Too late.
I think the interesting thing about this Final Four is that the trip to the Final Four is a journey, not a destination. Because if you think about these four teams, they've all had very different journeys. Now, Roy Williams done it 9 times, but for those other 3, this journey and this destination, pretty exciting.
Yeah, this is going to be a great day for sure. You got a mix of the old and the new, and we have it covered from every angle you can imagine. Reporters focusing on both games. You know, for Gonzaga, this is really where the ceiling has been broken through finally. Gonzaga will take on South Carolina, North Carolina, and Oregon. Andy Katz and Allison Williams are both with us. Allison's focusing on the North Carolina-Oregon game, Andy on South Carolina and Gonzaga. So, Andy, we start with you.
Well, thank you, Reese. And the biggest news of the week could have been an illness to Sindarius Thornwell. When he arrived here, was not feeling well, didn't practice the first day, didn't show up for the media session, but he was able to practice, full practice yesterday. I talked to him, he said when he got off the plane, he was just kind of had the chills. He was asking everyone around, are you guys feeling cold? But he felt well enough. He'll be fine to go. On the court, Frank Martin said, no question, we have to rebound if we're going to beat Gonzaga. As for the Zags, Mark Few says we have to limit live ball turnovers. If we commit those, we could be in trouble. And there's an interesting trend both schools have had that they want to erase. For South Carolina, they've trailed in a lot of games and had to catch up. For Gonzaga, they've let teams back in. Maybe not against Xavier, but it happened against Northwestern. They don't want to play with that fire and get burned. For the nightcap, send it over to Allison Williams.
Hey there, Andy. You know, you spend any time around these two teams, UNC and Oregon, and you can tell they are both motivated by their final game last year. For Oregon, that was a loss to Oklahoma in the Elite Eight. And after that game, the Ducks' Casey Benson returned home to Phoenix. When he arrived at the airport here, he saw a countdown clock to this year's Final Four. He snapped a photo of that clock to his teammates with the simple goal of being here when that clock hits 0. They've achieved that goal. This is a special moment for all of the players. But it's also a bit of validation for Dylan Ennis. You see, this is his 3rd school. He's a 6th-year senior, and his last school was Villanova. He watched from Eugene as they hoisted the national championship trophy. And yes, he was happy for his teammates, his basketball brothers, as he calls them. But he heard about that a lot. He said, being able to be here in Phoenix proves to me I made the right decision in coming to Oregon, and that the potential I saw on this team is real. Reese?
Allison, Dylan Ennis is the oldest player in the Final Four. He's older than a lot of NBA players right now. If there's a retirement program in college basketball, he's going to be eligible shortly. You have a blue blood against a new blood in Final Four appearances. North Carolina, nobody has more than 20 appearances from the Tar Heels. In fact, they have more Final Four appearances than South Carolina has tournament wins all time. Gonzaga and South Carolina here for the first time. Interesting that it's been since '73, Memphis and Providence, since you've had the matchup of first-time Final Four combatants. And then Oregon, who's had several trips to the Elite Eight and getting over the hump for the first time since the very first tournament in 1939 when the Ducks won the national championship. Now, there are all kinds of themes in this Final Four. There's validation, there's redemption, there's adversity, there's pure shock, there's old versus new, North versus South in Carolinas, I guess. What's the prevailing storyline of this day for you, Jay?
I don't think validation and redemption, while there are great storylines in practice and preparation, I don't think they win you any games. I think in the first game, it's going to be 2 great defenses going against one another, and which team can play better offensively is toughened together enough to put points on the board against the opposing great defense they play. And then when North Carolina and Oregon get together, you're looking at two elite offenses and a great rebounding team in North Carolina. And which team's defense is going to rise to the occasion? The team that defends better in that game and rebounds better in that game is going to win that one.
You know, to me, it's interesting. You got 4 teams. You got 3 that would really like to win the national championship. You've got one in North Carolina that's expected to win a national championship. And we can talk about the redemption tour, and that's great in the summer and the preseason. But all the pressure, to me, is on North Carolina, because for a lot of these guys, this is their last time through that door.
I don't know about that, Seth. I don't know if I would agree that. I think every team has the expectation of winning a championship. I think that's...
What about the pressure, though?
Yeah, but I think for North Carolina, they're used to playing with the pressure. Oregon's used to playing with the pressure. I mean, South Carolina, even though they're just figuring out what pressure is, they're built for a moment like this. See, you don't get here without believing that you deserve to be here, and that you cannot... Since you get here, everything's open now. It's like, it's free fall. You know, you get here, you have a chance to win.
Well, I think the biggest thing when you look at when it's all said and done in both games today, if I was going to pick one stat, it's going to be second chance points, because it's going to be 2 great defenses. All right, there's going to be Carolina has an underrated defense. They're going to have to really play well in transition and in their ball screen defense. Oregon, whether they're man or zone, is capable of doing a lot of things. You've got to really be able to offensive rebound the ball in this game, and it's got to be second chance points and the opportunity to get to the free throw line. So I think anybody looking for a cosmetically beautiful 2 games could be very hard with the way these 2 play, or with the way these 4 teams play. The second chance points and what you do at the foul line is going to be huge.
You know, you heard some of the players yesterday during the media availabilities talk about the difficulty of shooting in a big environment like University of Phoenix Stadium will be. But I think there's also some mental things that change after a team gets hot, maybe as South Carolina performs at a level at which it has not up to this season. It's first time all year. They've had 4 straight games when they've shot better than 40%, scored more than 70 points. What concerns do you have about everybody sort of regressing to the mean as opposed to building a momentum earlier in the tournament?
Well, it's going to be great to watch teams. I always love the first 4 minutes of a Final Four game, because you see teams that are so damn excited to be here, and they come out and you get quickly gassed, right? And then you settle into the basketball game. For South Carolina, that's always going to be the question, where they can score. But I'll tell you, the last couple of games, they have been able to score. So, you know, once you find that rhythm, don't think that for a second South Carolina doesn't believe they can score against a Gonzaga team. And Gonzaga is great defensively, but we're going to find out how great they are holding a guy like Sindarius Thornwell.
If South Carolina is able to knock some balls away, get out in transition, play ahead of the defense, and there's pressure there, but if you're creating turnovers, if you're getting to the offensive glass, if you're not playing against the set defense, a team like South Carolina might have an advantage because of the way they play defense, because they do force turnovers. Gonzaga team that doesn't force turnovers.
Yep. You know, I'm just, right now, as you saw, the starting times for the Final Four in just a minute is supposed to be just after 6 o'clock Eastern time. I'm just being told right now that over at University of Phoenix Stadium, which is a beautiful facility, by the way, but it's also a facility in which the roof can be opened. And right now, they're having difficulty closing that roof right now. And because of that, it appears that the start of the Final Four is going to be delayed. So what kind of impact could that possibly have?
Is that right?
Wow.
Are you serious?
Can you believe that?
No.
Wow.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It would be, too, if this weren't April Fool's Day.
See, you know what? Come on. When you have that little smirk, RD, I can't with you.
I wanted so badly instead to make the joke that several players are about to be ruled ineligible for getting extra NCAA benefits because of a dinner, just to see the most interesting man in the world.
See, I always thought you were the most honest man in the world. You just blew that.
So he's a trickster.
His head would have went like this.
That was, well, you know what? I would have recognized if I knew what day it was. Yeah. I know what day it is right now.
Later on in the show, I have a few other little things that I'll let you guys know that could be an April Fool's or could be true. Maybe we'll play some
any
games
Benjamins? Any Benjamins out there today?
Oh, maybe so. We'll depend and see how good you guys are. You know, we talked about the theme overall of this entire Final Four and what will carry the day in this national semifinal Saturday. Would it be the validation or the redemption? You know, you have so many of these teams that attack like a commando unit, just ruthless in their attack. Dressed for success, not just a one-outfit kind of group. Dick Vitale will be calling the game on ESPN International for us, the first national semifinal. Dick, what about the theme of this Final Four?
Hey, when you think about a storyline in this tournament, to me, Think about it. Before the tournament started, everybody was talking North Carolina, prohibitive favorite. Everybody said the Tar Heels. But let me tell you something. The Tar Heels to win, they better have a healthy Joel Berry because Oregon's going to really be a tough opponent. You think about what Oregon did against Kansas was incredible. Their unbelievable play inside. Jordan Bell, you talk about a shocker in the tournament. This guy was unreal. Had 8 block shots, double-double guy. Well, he's a guy that's been an unsung hero throughout the entire tournament. I think also, what about Frank Martin and the job to South Carolina? Who'd have ever thought they'd been here? Think about Thornwell, the job he has done. I mean, it's a mini version of what happened with Kemba Walker and certainly with Shabazz Napier, who did that great job for Connecticut and the Huskies. They had to do it, though, to just get into the tournament by winning the Big East as well. That's why I said mini. So there's a lot of theories and thoughts. And Gonzaga, the Zags, Mark Few, first time here. Unbelievable. What a career he's had. And now he finally has that resume that says Final Four. But they just don't want the Final Four, baby. The Zags want to win it all.
No question about that, Dick. They have built their reputation on just getting right inside your shorts there and guarding as best you can. Mark Few goes hiking with Andy Katz. How else to celebrate your first trip to the Final Four? Let's see if Fewy actually leads Katz out of the desert or just leaves him out there. 25 years ago, Leitner hit the shot. His buddy Bobby Hurley, head coach at Arizona State, will join us live to share his memories of that. And who's the best player in the Final Four? We're going to have a Final Four player draft. There will be stakes attached to this as well. See who it is that gets the first overall pick in this Final Four draft. What a great scene here at the Westgate facility. It's just a few full court passes away from University of Phoenix Stadium. Yeah, Luke May, very popular these days. Duke not here, but Gonzaga is. They misspelled it.
College Game Day is covered by State Farm. Talk to an agent today at 800-STATE-FARM.
If I could give Jay Bilas any advice for growing his beard out, like Shimmer Karnowski, I would just tell him, don't get your hopes up.
I don't see this beard thing going well for Jay. I think I would punt if I was Jay Bilas.
I can barely get any facial hair on my chin. So, like, I heard if you sit in the dark for a little bit longer, the beard grows faster.
Have fun with it, enjoy it, but just don't get your expectations too high. There's only one Shimmick.
Oh, Shimmick is enjoying this, isn't he? He tweeted, just saw my man at Jay Bilas, and he is 5 days deep in the process. Man of his word at Jay Bilas Beard, at Karnowski's Beard. Shimmick Karnowski spoke with Andy Katz about this very important Final Four subject matter yesterday.
And so how long did it take you to grow the beard?
It's been since June last year.
How hard is it to manage?
We just gotta make sure it's kind of even on the sides, but you just gotta let it grow. It's all natural.
How itchy?
Not a lot. I think the first stage is the worst. Now it's pretty good. I adjusted to that.
And what can you store inside?
I don't know. I think Jay Bilas mentioned that he can store some food and some little birds. I don't think I can do that yet. But I'll work towards that.
And it's amazing how during the commercial break that beard sort of just took off for you.
That's what men do. Can I take this off now?
No, you can't let it go. Segment.
If I begin to die, would you take this off my head?
Yeah, it looks pretty good on you.
It's uncomfortable.
My own beard is spectacular.
Yeah, it's not bad. I'm a little disappointed with the amount of hair here. Karnowski, a much thinner look on top of the lip.
Yeah. I'm going to be pulling this fake hair out of my beard the rest of the day.
That might make him grumpy a little bit. Okay, look, here's what we're going to do. We do this at the Final Four every year.
I could use that on my head.
It's sort of like a fantasy. Yeah, I know. Seth could grow hair up there like that. Give that to Seth.
Something inside wouldn't be bad either.
Give that back to Greenberg.
All right, we're doing a Final Four player draft. It's like a fantasy draft. I'll show you the rules in just a second, but also evaluating the evaluation skills of my three partners here. Josh Hart is still with us. Dan Dakich over here. Dan Dakich, always the shy and retiring wallflower type, so I'm sure he'll be very reserved in his critiques of these guys. Let me give you the rules of this Final Four fantasy draft. Each analyst has to take one player from all 4 teams. Here's the scoring system. 1 point for every point, rebound, assist, steal, and block. You lose a point for turnovers and missed free throws. That could be important, especially for the Gonzaga guys who aren't shooting free throws well. And 10 points for any go-ahead or game-tying shot in the final 10 seconds of the game. So will anybody go for Luke May? And I'm going to attach some stakes to this as well. Whoever wins this competition on Monday during our national championship show, we're going to have the curtain of distraction out here from Arizona State to try to disrupt free throw shooters. The winner gets to assign the loser to the curtain of distraction and make whoever finishes second try to attempt a free throw into the curtain.
Wow.
That's pretty good, huh?
I like that. I mean, it's way better than having that stuff I had 2 years ago in Indianapolis.
Yeah, he had the hot sauce at St. Elmo's, and there was this giant vein that popped out of his head, and it was ugly. All right, Seth, by a random number generator, you got the first overall pick.
As I should.
S-curve. Who are you taking first?
I'm going to take Sindarius Thornwell. He's leading the NCAA tournament in points. He averages 8.5 free throws a game. He averages 7 rebounds a game. He's the hardest player in the NCAA tournament. Sindarius Thornwell, I'm all about the Fighting Frank Martins.
So Thornwell goes first overall. He's leading the tournament in scoring, nearly 26 points per game. He's done a little bit of everything, 7 rebounds, couple of assists, so you can stack up some points with him. And if South Carolina wins, that puts you in very good shape if they could get out of the game. You're the second pick, Jay Will. Who you got?
You know I have an affinity for point guards, RD. I'm going with Nigel Williams-Goss here from Gonzaga. You talk about the transfer. This young man wants the ball in his hands at all given times. Seth knows this word. Moxie, Seth.
Moxie. Gotta love Moxie.
He's going to make plays. He's going to score a lot of points. He's going to make a lot of assists. He's also going to get you rebounds. I think he's going to help them get to the championship game.
That's a very important national semifinal between the two of you. Now, Jay, third pick, but you get 2 in a row. Who's your third overall pick?
I am going with Justin Jackson of North Carolina. He's averaging 20 points a game in the tournament, averaged just under 19 on the season, the ACC Player of the Year. Best middle game of any player in this NCAA tournament. Best floater, best runner, and a guy who made over 100 threes this year. And I think that should have been the #1 pick, but Seth was picking.
So now you get the first pick of the second round, Jay, and you can't pick a Carolina guy, so who are you going?
I'm going with Tyler Dorsey of the Ducks. Not a hotter player in America right now than Tyler Dorsey, averaging 24 points a game over his last 5, shooting over 60% from 3, and he has been knocking threes down like crazy. He's made 85 of them on the season. Nobody hotter than Tyler Dorsey.
Okay, Billis has 2 big-time scorers. Jay Will, how do you answer with your second pick?
Look, Justin Jackson is really good, but Joel Berry is the heart and soul of this North Carolina basketball team. And yes, he's had a sprained ankle, but I expect him to come back big and exceptional in the Final Four. This team's going to go as far as Joel Berry can take them. At the point guard spot, he's going to have the ball in his hands. He's going to make clutch shots.
Boy, you're banking on improvement because he's shooting in the 30 percentage, about 23% from 3. All right, Seth, you get 2 straight picks.
Phyllis, you understand Justin Jackson's job is to
Will you
shut
make
out
your
Tyler
picks,
Dorsey?
please? Stay
Come
with
on,
my
now,
team.
You got to stay with the game
Stay
plan.
in your own locker room.
Dylan Brooks. Dylan Brooks, by the way, you get extra points for game-winning shots?
Yes.
Well,
yeah,
he's made 2 of them this season.
Yeah, but you don't get points for that. You get points if he does it now.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I expect him to do it now. Here's a guy who can rebound it, look for him in isolations against Isaiah Hicks, shoots the 3, drives the ball, gets to the foul line. Absolutely love Dylan Brooks.
All right, Seth, they want me to go for some analysis, but I know who you're picking next. I want you to make the pick, and then we're getting some analysis. Get your next pick here.
I'm going to go with, I know you guys are going to ready to kill me right here, but
I am,
I'm going to go with Isaiah Hicks, because here's the deal. Forget about it. Isaiah Hicks has never gone more than 3 games without a double-figure game. He's gone 3 so far this season. He's going to catch the ball in that middle of that matchup zone, catch face, he'll get to the offensive glass, he'll run the floor. He is due. I'm going to be like Preston. Predict the future. Isaiah Hicks, huge game today.
Better than Inspector Clouseau.
Let's hope so.
Wait a second.
You've got 3 of your players there, and Dan Dockus, Josh Hart. He took Isaiah Hicks instead of Kennedy Meeks, who's been terrific, instead of Luke May.
By
the way, these 2 guys, Meeks and May, are getting like 30% of the shots in the tournament. What do you think of what we've done here so
Well,
far?
I think it's a very Calhounian explanation by Team Seth. I think there's too much talking. He doesn't believe in his own team. It's no surprise that Bill is far wiser than these two clowns. I love everything about
You
him.
love calling people clowns, man.
He's got the best player in the tournament right now in Tyler Dorsey, the most clutch player in the tournament in Tyler Dorsey, and he's got a first-team All-American. You can have 5 guys. I'll take Billis. You're talking too much. You're trying to sell us too much.
Coming from the guy talking too much.
Josh, what do you think, Josh?
3 hours a day.
Seth's team's going to transfer. Half of them are going to transfer anyway.
I like Jay Billis's team, but I love Seth's team. I got Sendarius Thornwell, who I think might be the best player in this Final Four right now. You have Dylan Brooks.
You have a championship. You don't have one.
Are you worried about
that's
Darius
the team.
Thornwell being injured or being sick?
No, I'm not. When it comes down to right now, it's the Final Four. Senior year, this is what you live for. This is the moment you want. So there's no sickness right now.
Last time these two underestimated me, they had to wear my picture of their, what's that drawing we did?
It was called a tattoo.
The tattoo. Yes. I'm going with the guy, Jordan Bell. Rebounds, points, block shots.
You get blocks.
He does everything. You talk about energy, a hype man. He's going to be so active defensively. He brings a different dimension to this team. Now, yes, they did lose Chris Boucher, but Jordan Bell has been one of the most productive players in this NCAA tournament.
Okay, so Jordan Bell going there. Jay, you have to pick 2 players in a row from the first national semifinal. 2 you have left.
I'm going with Jonathan Williams of Gonzaga, if I can get this off of here. Jonathan Williams, the
I can
lefty.
use my man-sized strength.
Transfer. Yeah, it really was difficult. That Velcro is very tough. Need to work out a little bit more.
I can't believe you didn't take Karnowski.
Jonathan Williams, my beard is nicer.
Okay.
Jonathan Williams is a lefty, transferred in from Missouri. He's a really difficult matchup problem. Coming off a really good game where he had 19 points, 8 rebounds. I think he's going to have a similar effect in this ball game and do a really good job against South Carolina. I think he's going to be the hardest matchup for South Carolina. And then I'm going with a Gamecock for my last pick, one of the toughest players in the tournament. I'm going with Dwayne Notice because I think he's going to be open in this game, and he's going to find some open shots because of the attention that Sendarius Thornwell is going to draw in P.J. Dozier. And I think he's going to sneak in a few extra points and rebounds and put this great team over this extremely well-constructed team over the top.
Jay Will, your last pick. Let's see who you are. You're missing a South Carolina player,
I am.
right?
Everybody knows Sendarius Thornwell. Everybody knows Dwayne Notice. Going P.J. Dozier. P.J. Dozier has to be big in this tournament. There's a lot of attention offensively on those two. But look, the way he plays, the way he can get to the rim, the way he can attack on the rebound line. Once again, Jordan Bell, P.J. Dozier, there's a lot of guys that give me a lot of extra points with their style of play and the energy in which they play with.
Okay, so you've got Williams, Goss, Barry, Bell, and Dozier. 1 pick left, and
I don't
here
have to
comes.
say anything.
You got the beard.
I got the beard.
See how that looks on top of your head.
No.
Okay.
I mean, Shimmer Karnowski.
Yeah. Okay.
If Gonzaga's going to play ahead of the defense, he's going to get early post-ups. He rebounds the basketball. He established himself, and sometimes South Carolina, at times South Carolina, all right, allows the ball to get to the post. If they get the ball to the post, Karnowski, especially on the right block, he catches it on the right block and can work to the middle of the floor. He'll be hard to defend. Love Shemar Karnowski. That is a championship team.
No, so great passer there. So, Dan, did Seth redeem himself at all in your judgment?
No, but Jay Will did. I think that Jay Will, great GMs are made in the late rounds, and Jordan Bell has been outstanding. and I'm with Jay on Notice, but, man, I'll tell you what, I think P.J. Dozier is going to have to make some mid-range shots, score a lot of points. I like what you did late, Jay Will. I'll take you.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate that.
Josh, who has the best team?
I'm still with Seth on this one. You got Sendarius Thornwell. You got Dylan Brooks, probably the clutchest player in the Final Four right now. He proved it in the regular season. Little questionable with Isaiah Hicks, and I'm not. But you made up with the big man in the middle. I love Seth's team. I love the toughness. I love the grit.
I will say this.
It's all about attitude.
We've got a team of researchers, right? One of our researchers is a Villanova guy. We call him Daddy Mass. He says Billis has the best team.
He says Billis pays people off.
Analytics, baby. Analytics.
He says analytics say that Billis has the best team and therefore the best chance of winning. Again, the stakes, curtain of distraction from Arizona State will be out here on Monday. Winner can assign the loser to be in the curtain, and they will have to do whatever the curtain guys say. And the middle guy will have to try to attempt a free throw into the curtain of distraction.
Can you
Josh,
stay away from
appreciate
those
you being
people in the
with us, man.
curtain?
Best of luck on the Wooden Award.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations on a great season, Dan. Always entertaining. Dan Dakich. And the final 4 games, the national semifinals, come your way. We're our good friends and colleagues over at CBS, 6 o'clock Eastern Time. Just after that, you'll see South Carolina and Gonzaga. And, of course, the nightcap will be North Carolina and Oregon coming up after that. Out on the demo court, teams have been drafted, stakes have been put down. We'll see Andy Katz with Mark Few coming up.
Frank Martin was livid. He wants something to throw.
Angry, emotional.
His passion for the game. That's just his way of expressing, his emotions.
They're great. They're undescribable, really.
I think the go-to one is when he's standing there, with his hands out. I think that's Coach's best one.
Kind of just gives you a look and just nods his head like, yeah, I'm about to get on you, like. And then he stares you down while you keep walking.
So good.
It's beautiful. Real Stories brought to you by the Principal Financial Group. Real stories about Frank Martin, believed to be the first-generation Hispanic head coach to lead his team to the Final Four. Martin snapped South Carolina's 12-year tournament drought by taking the Gamecocks to their first ever Final Four. And is this an April Fool's or not? Is South Carolina first team in 25 years since Martin mentor Bob Huggins to go from not in the tournament to the Final Four the next year? April Fool or not?
No.
No is correct. That is a true story. You got that
50%
but you
chance,
get nothing. You get nothing from it.
I get no hundo?
No, you get nothing. Last 21 teams to make their Final Four debuts, 4 and 17 in the national semifinals. Now, one of them is going to win, South Carolina or Gonzaga. But as you look at Gonzaga right now, their offense has not been least efficient in terms of points per possession of any team remaining in the Final Four. Karnowski need more shots in this game?
Well, I think they need to play through Karnowski, and one of the things that Shimma Karnowski does as well as any big guy in the country, if not better, is pass. And when he gets the ball inside, does a great job. He always posts up or tries to post up on the right block because he's left-handed, and he immediately looks middle. If you don't come after him, he will crab dribble, and then he can get right into a jump hook or right into a turnaround jump shot, and he's a very efficient scorer inside. Gets the ball just off of the block, looks immediately for the double team, looks over that right shoulder and looks in to the lane. Double team comes, he finds a wide open Nigel Williams-Goss, and Williams-Goss has got to be ready to shoot there. When you make that catch, you have got to be ready to shoot, and that's got to be the first thing in your mind. When the ball is moving, be ready to shoot against South Carolina because they do a great job of closing out the shooter.
In his defense, too, in West Virginia, the style was so fast, you couldn't really establish a low post position, and then Xavier played zone, so I agree with you on that.
Well, to establish Shimma Karnowski, you got to be able to get him the basketball. And South Carolina's goal is to pressure the basketball, deny ball reversals, deny entry passes, and make it difficult for them to run offense. And as you see this play develop against Ole Miss, first it starts with pressure on the ball. Pressure on the ball buys time. But then they're going to deny ball reversal. They're active, they're alert, off the ball, 2 passes away, but they make every pass difficult, and they push you away from the basket. Once again, denying ball reversal in the passing lane, on the line, up the line. Good pressure on the ball. You got to beat them off the bounce, which is hard. If you don't, they're in the passing lane, they're out, they're in transition, and that's what makes South Carolina so difficult to play against because they take your plays and take you out of your plays and make you make a play. And if you can't beat them off the bounce, you cannot beat them, and that's going to be the challenge for Gonzaga.
Playing those passing lanes, getting some easy points offensively would be huge, too. And Darius Thornwell, look, we always talk about him as being one of the most underrated players, I think, in this tournament. And he's a guy that plays that way. And offensively, he's extremely talented. He can do things, take bigger players off the dribble. He's kind of a matchup nightmare. And he just has a plethora of moves around the rim. He has ball fakes, head fakes. He gets you off balance. And when he's able to do all these things offensively, you combine him with Dwayne Notice, P.J. Dozier. This team offensively needs to score points. I know we say that, and that's easy, but they've had struggles down the stretch, but it all starts with Darius Thornwell.
April Fool's time for Seth. South Carolina has an out-of-bounds play called Stella because Frank Martin loves a streetcar named Desire. Is that true?
I'm going to say false.
Who does have an out-of-bounds play called Stella, and why?
I'm going to have a Stella after this is over. I'll tell you that right now.
I'm going to say Oregon.
Oregon is wrong. The answer is Gonzaga because it's the name of Few's dog, who often attends practice and is out of bounds
There we go.
during practice. There you go. Time for the right combination, brought to you by State Farm. This Final Four features Conference Players of the Year from the Pac-12, ACC, SEC, and West Coast Conference. First time since '99. The Final Four has featured 4 Conference Players of the Year, and we'll see one of those will also add a national championship to his resume. That is our State Farm right combination. Ton of Final Four experience here. We'll talk about preparations in a minute.
This is College Game Day, covered by State Farm.